Good evening, everyone. Treasure Troller here from the partially mask-wearing militant state of Michigan, where we had more FBI agents and paid informants than we did actual conspirators in the plot to kidnap our governor and dictator, Gretchen Whitmer, two of which are waiting the verdict in their retrial. We also have a Secretary of State who believes Donald Trump wanted her arrested and brought up on treason charges. This she heard from a friend who heard from a friend who heard from another who heard from an unnamed reliable source. So a couple of things today before we get to the very clickbaity title of this, An Adventures with Purpose. The first thing is, hey, I just saw this, I believe on Gateway Pundit. I told you this a week ago. So welcome to the party, Gateway Pundit. Mainstream media. I think what happened is they watched Treasure Troller, they saw it, but then they had to go confirm it. They just wouldn't believe me. Turns out Treasure Troller, once again, is true. Second thing is, yeah, and then I lose their name. God, I hate that. One of the vlogs I did on the murder book last spring, they actually found the primary suspect through DNA. And I was going to do another vlog on it. I was going to kind of turn it into kind of roll it into another unsolved case, where this one was solved, and then just remind everybody that this one is still open and unsolved. So I'm aware of the case. Her last name is Hammack. I cannot remember. I just had her name and I lost track of it. It's on the murder book. I think it was something killed by a serial killer or something like that. Anyways, it was down in Grand Rapids. She was picked up sort of between south of the city. She was picked up on Division, which is the road that runs right through the center of Grand Rapids. And she was picked up just before 28th Street. So south of the city and just north of 28th Street on Division Avenue. She was found in Caledonia, down in the Caledonia area. It remained unsolved. I keep thinking close to 30 years. And they have a gentleman in custody now. He is down in, I believe, Mississippi. So they need to bring him back up. So, The Adventures with Purpose. I know the title is clickbaity. Of course, that's to bring in viewers, right? You need to be a little bit edgy to bring in more viewers. So first, I think they do a great job. But I'm also very much aware of what they do embarrasses people. And I say this through a little bit of experience I've had through FOIA requests. They're very reluctant to give you this information. Mostly because you may find something in there that doesn't quite look. It can be a source of embarrassment, possibly. Or maybe it's something you looked at differently than they saw. It can be a problem. Adventures with Purpose is a problem for a lot of law enforcement agencies. Watch some of their vlogs. For all the great work they do, watch the vlogs. When they find somebody, they find a car, they won't be allowed in certain properties. If they find a car, they let law enforcement know. And they'll say, okay, we're here to help you. Anything else you need? And now I think we got it from here. So as hard as they try to make it easier on law enforcement, they really serve as a source of embarrassment. In this Rodni case, it's even more blaring because of the freaking press conferences. I saw a brief segment just before work. I was sort of, Viva Free had just finished up, and I had a few minutes before I had to start getting ready for work. I turned on Popcorn Planet. They started their show off with the press conference with law enforcement. So to give you a little background of how they found this girl, they showed up in that area. There was a news crew that came with them. I don't know what the deal was. They decided to come with them. There was a huge outcry to get Adventures with Purpose there to help find this Rodni girl. So I think law enforcement felt a little bit of pressure to sort of greenlight Adventures with Purpose. There was a news crew that followed him that morning. They started out at like 8 o'clock in the morning at a different lake or pond or whatever. It was a lake, I guess, small lake. They searched it for a couple of hours. They found nothing. They went to a couple of ponds and they decided they were too shallow. It wasn't them. So then they went to this reservoir. And that's pretty much where the news crew stopped filming. I don't know why they stopped filming. This would have been, they started at around 8 o'clock in the morning. They got to this, they started searching at the reservoir at like 10:40. 20 minutes to 11, and by 11:15 they found this girl. Okay, they didn't just find her in any reservoir. They found her in a reservoir that even at this press conference, they're asking this law enforcement group, so have you had divers in this before? Have you looked at we've had, looked at this lake prior to Adventures with Purpose. Oh, we've had divers and we've had helicopters going over it. We've had boats in it. I mean, that lake was probably one they told Adventures with Purpose, hey, look, you can go there, but we've already been here. Well, that doesn't mean anything to them, because they basically went back exactly where all these law enforcement agencies had been, and they found her. And so here's one of the clippings, and now maybe I'm being a little bit, I guess, obtuse, or maybe even slightly hyperbolic about this, because I get rubbed the wrong way, because I know exactly, all right, I sort of get a certain feeling when, like, through these FOIA requests. And here's the post first from how long it took them to find her. Okay, give you a few seconds. Now here is a post that was taken from from the sheriff's department about Adventures with Purpose finding her. Now there's a little bit of I don't want to say nastiness, but hey, we got to find out how they found her so quick, and how they were able to do it, because they went to there's a slight stick in the ribs to Adventures with Purpose. Like, hey, something's, they almost sound like they're suspects. It almost, to me, sounds like they're suspects. Now, the biggest reason why they're able to find these people, and why they don't, and like I said, the press conferences, they're inundating this law enforcement officers with questions about how they were able to do something in a half hour that you guys haven't been able to do in 2 weeks. Which seems like a pretty reasonable question. But this is all Adventures with Purpose does. This is it. They have the latest and the greatest technology. I mean, you're just not going to get that from law enforcement agencies that don't have to deal with this on a regular basis. Look, if I'm lost in the woods in Michigan, I'm not going to feel good if I hear about a highly tactical unit from Detroit is going to come look for me. That doesn't make me feel good. But the gun club from Marquette, Michigan, well, they're going to find me in about an hour. That's the guys I want looking for me. And I just think they have a lot more technology. They do this probably 4 or 5 days a week. But when I do watch the vlogs, I skip all of their, I skip about halfway through to where they actually start doing the dives. And then I always like to watch for the reaction of law enforcement when they find someone missing. Now, like they said, I watched, they had sort of a press release. Adventures with Purpose had a small press release. They've never worked like an active case before. They've always done, unsolved missing people have been missing for a number of years. So, law enforcement still, I think, they still get the rub of, yeah, you can go look in that lake, but I mean, we've searched that lake 4 times. Anyway, that's good. Okay, yeah, we'll go. Looks good to us. So they still get that. There's only been 1 or 2 episodes that I've actually seen where the law enforcement was overjoyed to see them find someone. There was one, I couldn't even tell you how long ago it was, but I think it was like 2 kids were in a car that they hadn't been able to find these kids for a couple of decades, and they actually found them. The car had just gone off the road and kind of went into this river or something, and they found them right there. But it is interesting. I'm sure that this is going to take them to the next stratosphere with regards to viewers and subscribers. They do a lot of good work, but on the other hand too is they can be pretty embarrassing for law enforcement. And I've through a lot of these a lot of the murder book vlogs, the last few not so much, but the ones that I really get into with the cases, I've talked to like the Andrea Bossi case. I talked to law enforcement that were actually on the case looking for Andrea and looking for the suspect. I've talked to a former state police investigator on a couple of the cases that I've looked at. I've talked to family members for the Amanda Lanke case. And the last one that I really did the deep dive in, that I really had the most trouble getting information from, which I thought was a good vlog, was the Penny Smugleski vlog. And you get a lot of people that have differing opinions, and they sort of stick to those opinions when the evidence doesn't suggest that. So I can see where Adventures with Purpose has to kind of deal with that as well. Well, so-and-so never got along with his dad or whatever, and rumor is that he took off in the middle of the night after an argument with his dad or something. I can see that kind of stuff playing into it as well. It's kind of emotional, even if it's 20 years. There's still a lot of emotion. But Adventures with Purpose, I think, I think they've started something that they really, this could be a road that they don't want to go down, because now everyone is going to want Adventures of Purpose hot on the case. And I think they're going to, I think the other thing too, that I just thought of it was, oh, this would be bad. This would be bad. Oh my God. I'm only saying this. I don't know. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. That would be I'll tell Lamont. Maybe Lamont will say it. Lamont might say it. I'm not going to say it. So, with that, this is Treasure Troller saying aloha and good day.